Sure. On the injury front, Kareem with that ankle and Troy with the knee, they're week to week, and they're unlikely to make it this week on the short week with the game on Saturday. Other guys, Anthony Schwartz, Greg Newsome remain in the concussion protocol. Ronnie Harrison with that ankle injury worked him out pregame, just didn't feel like he could go. So we'll see how that progresses. And really same thing with Harrison Bryant, getting better. We'll see how he progresses throughout the week. On the game yesterday, obviously great to come away with a win versus a division opponent, a really good football team. Obviously late in the game, you don't want it to go to an onside kick and them getting the ball. But I thought the defense made a great stop there to end the game. So a lot of good stuff to build off of, and then got to really turn the page quickly because we got another AFC opponent at our place with the Raiders coming in on Saturday. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Coach. First one will be from Tom Withers.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Coach. Along the injury COVID front, anything on Walker and Joku Gillen?
Yeah, no update there, Tom. We'll make sure we follow the protocol.
Got you. Following the game yesterday, Kevin, Baker lamented that you guys couldn't put them away, and he thought you guys were maybe a little too conservative. In looking at the game film, were you as aggressive as you wanted or needed to in the second half?
I also lamented that we didn't put the game away. I think miss a field goal to go up 27-9, really on that 3rd and 10, would have loved to have converted there and get 7 off of that drive. So, that was a long fourth quarter drive, and we need to do more of that. It's certainly something that we talk about internally, where we can be better offense, defense, special teams to put those games away, and that's what we need to do. Good news is we put it away, got that win, and now that's got to be our focus moving forward in these games. They're all going to be close, a bunch of really good football teams, and starting with the Raiders, we got to make sure that we're at our best.
Kevin, when you balance that conservatism and aggressiveness, however you want to phrase it, has it been a challenge for you to find the right balance given the many variables you've had, injuries, Baker's health, situational, et cetera?
Yeah, I think that's our job, Tom. That there are variables in these games. Certainly yesterday, you're in the fourth quarter, you're up 2 scores. Our defense, had gotten some big stops. So you try and be mindful of being, still trying to be explosive on offense. Don't take anybody out of the game per se. And then we just ultimately didn't stay on the field. Those, following a long fourth quarter drive, we had 2 3-and-outs. And then obviously with the defense, fighting versus a tough attack there with their quarterback. Ultimately, we just got to make sure we do what it takes to win. But I do agree that we'd love to put that away sooner.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Tom. Fred Greetham is next.
Hey, Coach, when you look, how good was it to have your top 3 edge rushers really make game-changing plays, with the strip sacks, McKinley and Garrett, and then a Clowney big sack late?
Yeah, I thought all 3 of those guys, Fred, were outstanding. Miles, as you guys know, that was a pretty impressive play by 95 there. And then just Clowney and Tack, those guys, all 3 of them in particular, played so hard, just constantly rushing. And that quarterback was not easy to get on the ground, so they were tired. But with those guys playing relentless, playing physical, playing fast, you have a chance.
Thank you, Fred. Mary Kay Cabot, you're up.
Yeah, Kevin, just maybe following up a little bit on what Tom was talking about with some of the stuff that Baker said after the game. Before the game, there was an NFL Network interview with him and Kurt Warner where he mentioned that it's not just outside criticism and noise, but he's had a lot of internal things that have been the tricky part of this season. So my question to you is, do you know what he's talking about with those internal things? Have you had discussions with him about these tricky internal issues that have been going on?
No, I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to, Mary Kay. I talk to Baker every week, every day. So I think we got a good line of communication. But, I think we just all coaches, players, as we move forward with all these big games, AFC opponent this week, our focus is always going to be just on the same page and doing what we need to do to go get a victory.
And do you feel like those comments are something that need to be looked into or addressed as you move forward into another huge game?
Yeah, again, I tell you, with Baker and with all of our guys, constant open line of communication. So you always will address anything that's on people's minds. But specific to that, I don't have a specific answer, I guess, to that comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll go to Jeff Shadell.
Kevin, you referenced that missed field goal, and I think Chase has had a missed one in the last 4 games. You played so many close games. Do you see a problem there for him? With specific problem?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jeff, you want to make them all. I know, and Chase is somebody he's hard on himself. He wants to make them all. He's counting on them. We know that. And another big game this week, like you mentioned, Jeff, and they're close games. So he's got to come through for us. And that's no different than week 1. So I think he understands all that.
Thank you, Jeff. Scott Patrick will have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, how did James Hudson do for you yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he had some nice moments, Scott. You know, he plays really, really hard, plays with enthusiasm. You know, he's athletic, on the move a few times. And then, like anything, he's a rookie, so he's going to have some plays that we certainly want to get back and explain the technique a little bit better, those type of things. So a couple plays like that, but by and large, you know, he played really hard.
And following up on what Fred asked you about the DNs, Jadeveon, it seems like maybe his best 2 games were the last 2 against Baltimore. Do you really see him coming on strong here?
I do. And I think with JD, you know, he's feeling good from a health standpoint. He plays really hard. He throws his body around, plays physical in the run game. Obviously in the pass game, applying pressure, and nothing bigger than that second to last play there, or third to last play, I guess, getting a sack there in a big moment.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Matt Fontana, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, after the game yesterday, Baker said it was the healthiest he's been since week 2 when he suffered the first injury. And really, rewatching the game, it seemed that way. Did it come across to you on film that it was maybe the healthiest he played? And does that impact play calling at all as the game goes on, to realize that he's, you know, pretty much the reins are off when it comes to the injuries?
Yeah, I think Baker's been consistent, you know, and saying that to you guys, to us. Obviously, internally, he's feeling good. I think he's feeling like himself. I think the bye week was big for him, for all of us, but him to get healthy. So yeah, I think he's feeling good.
And then back to Kareem, obviously it's unfortunate that he's going to be out again. How disruptive is that to have such a big piece of your offense gone, back, and then gone again?
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Obviously you hate injuries, and the competitor that Kareem is, you hate that he's going through this, but he's got to rehab and get back as soon as he can.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Matt. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, with Greg Newsome II, do you have any idea about what kind of progress he's making in the protocol, and if you have any expectation that you'd be able to get him back for the Raiders?
Yeah, Nate, I really don't have an update other than to say he's still in the protocol, but past that, I don't really have anything else to add.
And, you know, we're not used to hearing on the, you know, that news about the final play of a Friday practice. Was it just a freak thing? How did it happen?
Yeah, it was a freak thing, and it was unfortunate. You know, he was going up to catch a ball. The receiver was going up to catch it. I don't think they saw each other, and came down hard. But it's you know, very, very unfortunate. But we just want to make sure that we follow the protocols.
So if you got to stick with Greedy, what's your coaching points to him? After yesterday, we saw obviously a couple of deep balls on him, and you know, where do you stand with Greedy?
Yeah, you know, Greedy had some really good moments in that game, and then they made a few plays, and that's, you know, occupational hazard for a cornerback. So there's technique that we can work on. There's things that we can be mindful of, and make sure we're better going into this week.
Thanks, Nate. Dale Ryder, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, along the lines of finishing off games, I was looking at the numbers this morning. In the fourth quarter, you guys are being outscored 105-52, and in the second half, 170-103. Your second quarter seems to be your best quarter offensively when it comes to scoring. I'm just wondering, why that disparity? Just, considering you go in the locker room, you have some time to take a deep breath, make some adjustments and whatnot. Just what's going on there in that second half?
Yeah, Daryl, we do have to be better. I mean, that's obvious, and that stat is just, that's a team stat. Offense, defense, special teams. We got to be better for all 4 quarters, and we're looking for that 60-minute game. And the adjustments that you make, they really happen within series, within quarters. It's not like you get in at halftime and you wholesale change things. You have really good discussions. You talk about where you're going, but really all those adjustments should be happening, in the middle of the second quarter, in the middle of third quarter, and so on. So we do have to be better, and that's our focus. We have to finish.
And then all those changes you had to make because of your tight end shortage on Sunday. How much, now that you got that on tape and you've, as a coach, have gotten to look at how you performed, does that at all help you now going on a short week, getting ready for the Raiders in the event that you don't get those tight ends back in time again?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're doing now, Daryl, is seeing who might be available to us, and some of those are up in the air. So we have to plan accordingly, kind of have to have plan A, plan B, plan C type things based on who's available to you. But we got plenty of guys. We'll put a plan together so these guys can go play fast.
Thank you, Daryl. Dan Lobby is next.
Hey, Kevin, I got 2 for you. First, I just want to clarify something going back to Chase and what Jeff was asking. Is the plan still to stick with Chase at kicker, or will you guys work guys out?
Yes.
So to stick with Chase. And then my other question, I just wanted to follow up with something you said yesterday about pressures and how important those are. And I was just wondering how you guys kind of value those, in the building when you're evaluating game film and kind of what guys do.
Yeah, I think, I don't think we're different. I think the entire league values quarterback pressures and how you affect the quarterback, because such a small amount of those pressures turn into sacks, and sacks are great. Don't get me wrong. But we're really focusing on getting around that quarterback as much as we can, because you're going to affect him, meaning you're going to make him get off his first read, you're going to make him move in the pocket, cause an inaccuracy. So the focus can't solely be on sacks when you're talking about a defensive player's ability to affect the game.
And then just kind of along those lines, it looks like Tack had a really good day in that regard yesterday. We haven't talked a lot about him, and he forced that fumble too. So just what have you thought of Tack and then his game yesterday?
Yeah, he played really, really hard, Dan. Was relentless. Even on that play, he was on the opposite side of the field and chased the quarterback down when the quarterback pulled up to make somebody, to make a move on someone. So he plays with great effort, really throws his body around there in the run game, giving great rushes on third down. So he was playing how we envisioned him to play yesterday. And now, as he's getting healthy, that's a big part of it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Tony Grossi, we'll go to you.
Hi, Kevin. A couple questions, special teams questions. What was Janovich's explanation? How can he not see the ball coming on an onside kick?
Yeah, I have not had a chance to talk to him specifically about that, Tony. His job is to field it if he feels like he can field it, and if not, to go block. So I think he was going to block, and I think the ball had a maybe unexpected bounce. That's not an excuse. He should obviously avoid it if he can, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him specifically about it.
And I think on that, from what I could see on the film of that, he was the only non-linebacker on that first row. Is that your normal all hands team?
Yeah, I think it is our normal hands team, Tony. And the thinking there is oftentimes the ball goes behind that line, and you want some bigger bodies to block the guys that are coming down on kickoff. Okay,
one last thing on special teams. Was Felton, was it Sun that caused those 2 muffs?
No, I mean, he needs to catch the ball, whether it's sun, wind, whatever it is, he needs to catch it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. We'll take 3 more. Mary Kay Cabot, Scott Petrick, Nate Orr. Mary Kay.
Yeah, Richard was finally active this week after being a healthy scratch last week, but obviously he's kind of fallen off the map this season. So as you move forward, do you see any opportunities for him to get some targets or get back involved in the offense down the stretch?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I know he didn't have any targets yesterday, but, Richard prepares really hard. He's ready to go. The ball didn't find its way to him yesterday, but that's kind of how it went. The ball went to Hoop a bunch, and Jarvis and Donovan, and that's just based on who's in there, where we're lining them up, and the coverage. So I wouldn't read much into that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Patrick, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, Baker was admittedly frustrated after that Lions win, and yesterday, seemed a little bit down. Have you talked to him about that at all, where that frustration, I know you guys won, so it seems a little out of place for him to be frustrated after games.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, Scott. Just for us as a team, these wins are hard to come by, and we'll continue to fight, scratch, and claw for 60 minutes or more, and that's going to be our focus.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, Scott. And the final question for Coach Nate Orr.
Hey, Kevin, obviously the, Lake Hance jumbo package thing was used quite a bit. Is that something you can build on, or do you think, hey, once I get my tight ends back, it's going to be back to our 13 personnel, and that's just kind of a Band-Aid?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Nate. I think we got to, number one, see who's available to us for this week. But it's nice having Blake, who can play tackle for you, can really play anywhere along the offensive line. And then he's so intelligent, he can kick out and play tight end for you as well. If you need him in a pinch or you design things for him, he can handle that from a mental standpoint. So we'll see where we go moving forward.